what you did killed this movement. Thank you for the honesty. Damn, still my it's supposed to be the hope for young people to get the difference. Hurry up. Now, before I introduce the next speaker, I actually like what Kiang said. Now, Kiang touched on a very NPS point, civic engagement. You can make a difference in the country non-politically. How? Join NGOs, register as a voter, organize events, write your MP, tweet your MP, write to the editor, write to the CKL, write to the work with the registered associations. You must make a difference. So I'm not giving mistakes. I'm just. Sorry, can we just go for Q&A afterwards? It's King Chai. Sorry, sir. Can we just come down? Are you okay, sir? Okay. Yeah. You seem very excited over this topic. Yeah. Sure. I'm not here for you. I'm sorry, I'm not here. I'm here for people that are young. This event was for young people that want to do something for the country. This event is for the people that are at the back. Okay, yes you are, sir. Yes you are. Okay. I'm saying, I'm the moderator of this event. Okay? I control the floor. Okay? We have the right organizers to reject this. Okay? Now calm down. No, I appreciate comments on the floor, but when it's disruptive, it's just not conducive. I hope you can understand. We don't want disruptors on the floor. I will just make a comment by saying we can be involved non-politically. That's it. Okay. Alright? I think I Alright. Now I'm getting worked out. My rights are being checked. Alright. Now, not politically, let's get into non-politically. And that's what I'm so about. The next speaker, Amir. Amir doesn't appear like the two other speakers before him. He doesn't appear like he's going to give a plea. He also doesn't appear like he's going to challenge the government in a landmark court case. But Amir has appeared on many media outlets. Now, one thing I like about Amir is his critical comments. Amir may always give you comments that you may not necessarily agree with, but it gives you food for thought. I always look at Amir's comments on Twitter, on Facebook, and sometimes I look at Amir's actually interesting. Now, that's what I love Amir. Amir brings another perspective that you might find interesting, and I'm looking forward for this session with Amir. We're getting into worked out earlier. Now, Amir, if you have the file, I have the file, come and bring it to the audience.
I see something in an untrue event, but you can't do whoa, you feel you're going to start on fire. But thank you, Zai, for that. And those who know me know that I like drama, and that bit just now was just the best way, a curtain raiser to what my bit this evening. And as I rightly pointed out, one thing that I wanted from that exercise, this was actually a paper that Zai wanted to have. And that is, this is supposed to be one of my points later in my speech, is the language of rights. When you start invoking that this is my right, okay, you lose the empathy, sympathy, emotional connection, alright? And that's what is wrong with many of the people who are involved in human rights today. Because human rights have been politics, right? Politics. It's driven a lot by legalistic language, and that shuts a lot of people out of the discussion. Anyway, a bit about myself.
Thank you, Zain. But that was a very interesting exercise. And thank you, two gentlemen. That's the beauty of Malaysia. Anyhow, a bit of introduction about myself. My name is Amir. I'm a public affairs consultant. I look at political systems around the region, geopolitics especially. And I observed the American elections recently for 3 weeks. I was there in the US. Those who follow me on Facebook, Twitter will know that I was there at Trump rally and all that. Very exciting. And Zain made a very interesting point about Trump earlier today. I can't wait to rebut that. I enjoyed this chat with Zain, of course. Trump, why it matters, okay? Now you see, earlier we had Dr. Lin who talked about the role of the UN, and Prof who talked about in the 20th century. You see, what has happened is that we live in very, very interesting times, okay? We have people who do not necessarily, well actually purely do not agree with a lot of human rights causes, have taken power in many important countries, alright? And we have what we call a wave of, we cherish this, you and me, we were born in, I was born in the 80s, we are all millennials, we cherish globalization, alright? We are a product of globalization. And whether you like it or not, the net effect of globalization in human rights is positive, alright? You have the advance of information technology, exchange of ideas, borderless world, great for human rights. But of course, at the same time, you have, with globalization, economic exploitation. Alright? And the funny part, the irony, these leaders, these candidates who are now leaders in their countries, who are not your usual human rights advocates, fought in their campaign on a very human rights, using a very human rights language. Look at Duterte in the Philippines, okay? Extrajudicial killing. I have my boss, I work for this writer, political commentator Karen Raslan, just came back last week from the Philippines where he interviewed drug dealers in the streets of Makati. And now it's very quiet. If you go in Manila at night, it's probably more vibrant in Cotabaru than it is in Manila. People are shivering, they're damn scared. 2 o'clock in the morning, police can just come into your house, kick your door, shoot you dead. Alright? So that is the Duterte for you. You have Trump, okay, who says all these nasty things, who doesn't believe in human rights, who believe in giving a free pass to Putin, Assad and all that other work and focusing on the US. Why is good? And you have, of course, the rest of the mafia, Putin and gang, all still in power. Why I bring to you this point? I don't want Malaysians to just look at Malaysia in isolation. Alright? We are part of a global system. And whether you like it or not, America has provided leadership when it comes to human rights. Of course, they have terrible records at home as well, but they have taken the lead and have lectured from the days of Carter to even George W. Bush, who started the war in Iraq. They have used human rights as a bargaining chip in foreign policy. So what will happen that they are no longer interested in human rights? With globalization this is one thing that, as I said, all of us grew up in globalization, and now there is a whole realization of dispossession, disenchantment. You go to any Western capital in Europe today, you talk to just about anyone, they are upset, they are very, go to a Trump rally, you can feel the seething anger power. Alright? So how does that bode for human rights in Malaysia? I am very fearful, to be honest. I'm not involved very much in human rights scene. I'm more of a political commentator. But I worry for those who are in there. Because as Dr. Azmi pointed out, the powerful don't care about human rights. And now, with the Trumps and Duterte, the strong demagogues, pseudo-nationalists, populist leaders, the only language they speak is power. Alright? And that is why I think that we are in for a tough ride in Malaysia when it comes to human rights. How do we then tackle this? Before we attack, I'm quite surprised that no one has actually brought up actually openly attacking Pota, Sosma, and all these news of acts. Zahir mentioned it earlier on, but I have to tell you something. That those who were drafting this legislation, you might put this legislation to like really terrible, nothing changes and all that, but all due credit, these people take cognizance of human rights issues in a limited way of understanding. So during the drafting discussions, there are one or two civil servants, politicians that actually voice out some concerns. So there is some progress as opposed to like a draconian, like I say, minimal incremental progress. But why is it incremental? It's because there's this problem with human rights when there is no unity in purpose. In every branch of human rights and policy that you fight for, there's always like 10 different things that goes on there. There is never unity in purpose. And when there is no unity in purpose, you're never going to get far. Unless you're happy to settle with incremental changes, incremental progress. But as I said, there is a bit of progress in that part of in the drafting of the legislation. Of course, we can go and attack, we can debate about it later on. But I am very, I'm actually very fearful of what's going to happen to this country, given what has happened to the rest of the world. And you have the problem of security now, and everything is justified by ISIS, Daesh, threat, and all that. And I work in the political scene. We know that it is not as it's not recorded, right? Is it? It is not as bad as it sounds, yeah? It is that the threat is real. The threats, especially from retired fighters, threats are very real. And these people live among us, alright? And we should be mindful of it. But that is why there are such laws in place. But then again, good laws, as we all know, must be backed by goodwill. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is probably a bit too much asking for politicians in Malaysia. Alright? So, what basically I want my 10 minutes, and we can go to the Q&A in a bit, because I don't have my own experience to add on that. I'm just telling you of my fear, what I see outside. I travel a lot across the region, and recently to discovering the US. It's very scary, the world out there. And how does it go for the future of human rights? I'm not sure. And as much as I'm trying to be an optimist, like Zahir pointed out, we're going to do these like, events and all that, you take charge, leadership. Of course, the future is ours to win. But the future is also in the hands of the powerful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
How global politics affects local politics. And you're right, if you look at how the world works, human rights is in a bad state. Every part of the world, human rights is suffering. Maybe except for Scandinavian countries. Exactly, even in Europe, the rise of populist politics has affected human rights. There are racist parties, Islamophobic parties in Europe that are affecting rights of the minorities. And so when you look at the big picture, Malaysia is not the only country that is facing a retreat up, raise your hands and ask a question. Okay, got one over here. Oh my god. Yeah, I got one over here. I got Mr. Karl Marx and I got Hane. Okay, I'm going to go you first.
Good evening, everyone. The question that I would like to ask today is, many of you say that the powerful don't like civil rights. However, this does not only happen in the political world, but also in offices where they claim to have a flat hierarchy where the democracy exists, and even student NGOs whereby a person got unceremoniously fired for fighting for the right of their fellow rights of education inside the NGO itself. So my question is, how can we still fight for human rights without being killed ourselves, because we are harmless, without delving into politics? Please do not include answers of joining NGOs, joining groups, holding events, because honestly we try it all and we still get killed. Thank you.
That's the easiest question. It's a rhetoric thing, right? You can make stuff up. But the thing is, I completely understand how you feel, or how anybody who wants to take the bold step forward. Because there's a saying that the nail that stands up above the rest gets hammered down. Okay? And no one's saying that standing up for your rights is easy. No one is saying that what anybody did is like, oh yeah, I'm so brave, I'm balls so big, I'm going to fight. No such thing, right? One anecdote is that I can share, one experience I can share with you is that when the four of us were arrested and charged under the law, under the act, we were terrified. We were completely terrified because we had everything at risk. But one thing that my dad told me, because at one point people say, hey, Paul, you just apologize, and, because this stupid like that, make all this noise, right? All my dad said is that, son, no matter what you do, never admit what you do. Because, even if you get sacked, it doesn't matter, because you didn't admit what you didn't do. You still have your dignity. That's all you have. Right? Sticks and stones break your bones. Words can hurt you. Yes, putting across of you can get you into all sorts of trouble. But if it's something that you believe is right, you really believe in it, there's no one else to say but you.
Yeah, of course. Many most bosses actually respect staff who speak and believe quite right and all that. But of course, there is such thing as how you say it and how you approach the situation, right? Office politics 101. Actually, that's what I can relate this to. Why I can be very snappy on my social media and I get away with it. It's because then after I said a very nasty tweet, pergi sama pemimpin, and I will of course then butter up to power. Yeah? Know how to play the game. I'm a great believer in that. But of course, never compromise your ability because people respect you for that. Answering Dan's basic rights question. So this is the problem with one is my criticism of the human rights discourse is that it has become very elite and in all its legalistic terms that it shuts out a lot of. You see, if you go to company, people don't talk about human rights. They talk about basic survival, things like that. Okay, but the language of the human rights players in this country and internationally shuts a lot of people out of the game. And two is because there's no right or wrong to this. Okay, for instance, you take the right of freedom of assembly. Okay, those defenders of this right to assembly, of course, support it to freedom of expression and all that. But those who are here to say it's trampling on their right to peace and harmony. Who don't, for example, those who support those, of course, they have the right to stone conference. But if you're the liberal counter-argument to that is, I have the right to my body. If I want to politic with anyone, it's up to me. Alright? So it then becomes human rights discourse degenerates to a contest, a shouting contest, a contest of minds. Okay? In an echo chamber. So it becomes very it's about who has the louder voice, who's another dimension that who has more money to fund the campaign to support their particular cause. So this is my kind of like 2 cents kind of dense question about basic rights.
She does.
Especially for SDG 16, you have
very late already, so it's time to go home. It's about 30 minutes to 10 a.m. It's what time? 9:40 p.m. So I've been recording for 1.5 hours in this venue, which is called Impact Hub KL, which is near to PWTC. It's quite near, and this is on Jalan Sentul, Sentul. So going home now. Can't hear at all, so it's a bit difficult. It's time to chow chow. So I get everything, and I get a chance to talk to the person who prepared the Indian curry. So today on this week, on Saturday, on Comic Fiesta Day, he will be having, his company will be having a launch with ministries and ministers in this exact venue, 10 a.m. this Saturday. So I think I might come for a brief look, because PWTC is quite near, Comic Fiesta is quite near, so might as well come here and take a look and have some lunch or whatever you call that, brunch. So I'm going to grab like 2 packets of this. Asked him and says go and grab it, because it's going to go to waste if nobody takes it. Oh, yes, I need some of these here for to write down media. That's Mr. Kuhn, the owner, and also the cook. Not the cook, one of them. Okay, bye. So Mr. Kuhn is the one to a company which is a social engineering company that enables people to, teach them how to cook and make a business out of it. So that's Mr. Kuhn. So I'm going to grab those 2 without looking too suspicious. Yeah, put the media here, which is nice. So with Mr. Kuhn's blessings, I'm going to grab 2 of those. Hopefully I can, go and be steady and also be careful while not dropping this thing here. Yeah, I'll grab 2. It's just too delicious to waste. Yeah, something like this. So I'm sharing I just stole a cigarette from Mr. What's your name? Rahman. What's the cigarette that you have?
So, it's
Peter Stuyvesant.
So basically, most of the current cigarettes are like this. So there's a demographic for this, simply because some people like to feel flavor or taste flavor as they smoke instead of normal nicotine. So you've got grape, you've got menthol.
I can feel something inside it.
Yes.
There's a pill, so I have to push it and you taste. Well, I don't taste the blueberry.
You gotta push it until like pops.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also there's a menthol too, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, never.
It pops.
It's the first time that I'm seeing this thing. Wow. It's kind of weird actually. So why don't you go for the, the healthier one, the vaping or something like that?
I used to vape.
And what? You used to vape and now you're back on this?
I'm back on cigarettes.
So is it worse, right?
No, it's worse. I don't recommend smoking at all.
Okay, vaping, people carrying those lots of
I think vape,
misting.
Yeah, I think vape is a substitute, but it can never held up to abstaining yourself from cigarette altogether.
But it's healthier than all this burn.
It's relative.
What?
Of course there are journals in America or in England that says it's healthier by about 40%. But still, if you were to look between those lines of the studies, it's healthier by 40%. Doesn't mean that it's completely healthier or completely healthy than.
Well, from my layman type of understanding, you are burning less of what do you call those things? Chemicals that keeps it burning all the time. So you don't have that in the
system.
In your system. No, in the water, the new vaping one. So not much carcinogen.
Of course, if you were to look at it from that angle, it's pretty much the same. It's healthier. I must say it's healthier.
But why did you go back to this one? This one nicotine.
Nicotine is a nicotine fix.
I thought the nicotine is it's the same with the bottle, the flavor, all those things.
It's lesser actually. If you were to really understand vaping, then you realize that most of the flavors out there, they don't have nicotine.
Oh, really?
You-
Then what's the point?
That's the thing.
You sure or not? I thought there were a lot of
Some
bottles.
has, no, some has, but that's why they actually came up with variants of nicotine. You have like your 6
Those
6
here.
ml, 9 ml, and 12 ml. So the normal cigarette is 12 ml.
Uh-huh.
That's the amount of nicotine basically that you shoot up to your brain lah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So you go to the more common one is the 6%, right?
Okay.
Of that that vape chemical,
Uh-huh.
that juice, that vape juice. So 6% is, if you're a smoker or a hardcore smoker, 6% is child's play lah.
Oh, okay,
It
okay.
doesn't give you that's the same amount of nicotine kick.
Okay, okay. How come you know so much about all these things?
I used to study biomedical. I'm a biomedical scientist by training.
Uh-huh.
Left the field a couple of years ago.
And what are you doing now?
I am in between jobs now. I was doing sales, business development, communication, public affairs, pretty much.
Oh, is it government?
No. I was helping a friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, wow. Okay. Okay, scientist.
Yep. I don't condone smoking. Don't get me wrong.
But it's about habit already.
It's a habit.
Yeah, I know.
I think more or less it's a occupational hazard.
What? You mean too much stress in your
Number
scientist?
1 is stress. Number 2 is you do realize that 70% of the population here in Malaysia smokes, right?
What? How many percent?
70.
70?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
No. I'm serious. I
No,
mean,
cannot be 70%. Bullshit.
I can Google it now. And
Oh, no.
But
70.
of course, I can. The
17 or 70?
70.
No, cannot be 70. You're talking by race or what?
No,
Everybody.
everybody.
Cannot be.
You'll be surprised.
You're crazy.
You'll be surprised.
I mean,
We record some of the highest smoke. Basically, we're part of a smoking region.
wow. Okay.
70% of the adult and
Oh,
students.
adults. Oh, okay.
Adults,
You're not talking about everybody, like women and
No.
children.
Adults can
So
also mean
male
and female.
70% of
Male
male
and female.
Female, I don't see many lah.
A lot. You'll be surprised.
No, I don't see them on the streets smoking.
That's the thing. See, there's a stigma against women who smoke.
Yeah, I don't want to date a smoking, even though I smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to kiss somebody with nicotine
Exactly.
or with smelly.
Yeah, but because of that kind of stigma,
They
women
don't.
don't smoke outside.
Oh,
You go to a club, you go to a pub, you go to a karaoke lounge, you see these people smoking.
oh, okay.
They just don't They don't do it out in the open. I mean, stigma plays a very important role to a certain extent.
Oh, okay. Wow, I learned a lot of things from you.
No. It's just, again, it's just something I read and.
Oh, okay. Because you know what I understand is nicotine is actually beneficial to your brain, but
small doses.
In small doses.
Yeah.
But the delivery system is the one that's fucked up. Smoking.
Number 1 is the delivery system. Number 2, it's how nicotine creates the addiction. That's why people like you and I, we're not addicted to the smoke, or we're not addicted to the chemicals. We're addicted to the sensation and the nicotine itself.
And the habit.
Of course, after a while, it becomes a habit.
Habit, yeah.
And the thing is, if you were to read books like The Power of Habit by Charles J. Duhigg, it's a yellow color book. If you were to read it, and you'll realize that there's a strong relation between habits and, of course, what you take inside your brain, and of course, psychologically, and of course, scientifically. You know, the reason why there's so much problem, or it's so hard to stop
Kick the habit.
smoking, kick the habit on the smoking, alcoholism, and to a certain extent drug abuse, you know, it's because your body has been taught scientifically
It's okay.
to crave that.
Okay. Crave it. Nicotine.
Nicotine, alcohol, it's got everything. And that's how the habits develop. When you see, habits develop in a sense that your brain or your body crave for that thing, whether it's exercise, whether it's smoking, whether it's drinking, whether it's doing everything and anything.
Oh, okay.
You know, and the moment your brain kind of deciphers and your body kind of understand that there's a rhythm behind it and there's a loop, you know, and once there's loop, then the body starts expecting it.
Habit.
Habit. You know, it's the same as smoking. I mean, look, in that book, Charles J. Duhigg, he wrote habits are actually parts of three things. One part of three that consists of three things: cue, routine, and reward. So any habits, if you were to break it down, you'll realize that there's a cue before that habit goes in, and then there's a routine. Routine is the habit, and then there's a reward. Let's take smoking for example. The cue is you and I wandering aimlessly, don't know what to do. Boredom. Right? That's a cue.
Yes.
We feel bored.
Yeah.
The routine is picking up a cigarette.
Yeah.
The reward is you feel good because nicotine is in your blood and you feel like, oh, I've accomplished something.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
No,
So,
normally if I've done something and I feel happy, I get to reward myself by smoking.
it depends. Basically, that's how habits fall. You do it often enough and you get stuck to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. Thanks for the lecture.
No.
Thank you very much.
No,
And
thank you.
what's your name again?
Rahman.
Rahman.
Yeah,
I'm
Rahman.
gonna